Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Sorry about my voice. I do have a bit of a sore throat, yeah, I sound a bit bunged up, but I just wanted to get this video filmed because it's kind of like I would say like one of my most requested videos. So yeah, it's basically my homeschool planner. I don't actually use this, and I haven't used this planner in a long time, but I wanted to just show you guys how I did used to plan and how I plan now. So this is just like an A5 Leutram notebook, and I think I got this at the because we've been homeschooling for a long time, but this is from 2017 to 2018. So basically, let me go to, I started off, like we always start our day doing our spiritual, reading. They chant like Sanskrit verses from our scripture. We do a bit of chanting, praying, worshipping, things like that. And then that takes about half an hour to 45 minutes, depending on how long I read aloud for. And then we go straight into morning basket. So this is kind of how I had it at the time. I just wrote a list of all the things that, like obscure things that don't really fit in anywhere. Like we've got this really cool book on idioms, like where they originate from, what they mean, things like that. Things I used to know, nature books, Bible stories. Anyway, lots of it's basically a lot of non-fiction stuff, and then some, I would say 1 or 2 fiction books. So I just listed out all the things that I kind of wanted to do with the kids, and rather than like planning out exactly, okay, on Monday we're going to do this, on Tuesday we're going to do that, I just made a loop. So on Monday, if I felt we had, a bit of time, we might do 1 or 2 things, and I would just move this arrow down to the next thing, so that if on Tuesday we didn't have time to do anything from, this loop, it's okay. On Wednesday we would just pick it up, and I would just move this down the list, and so on. And as you can see, the list kind of changed, and I added things, took things away over the period of time that I was using this book. And it's just really flexible way, obviously, of planning. If you're like a homeschooler, you might, I'm sure you're familiar with the morning basket. So yeah, that's that. And then I had like our daily things that we would do every single day, or at least we kind of aimed to do. So it's just like maths, read aloud, piano, things like that. That also kind of changed. So like we were alternating between science, geography and history. We didn't do all 3 of them every single day. We would like pick a science topic, and we would do that every day until that topic was done, and then move on to geography, and then move on to history, like that. And then I had a homeschool loop. So in addition to the things we were doing every day, I wanted to do, at least like 1 or 2 of these things every single day. And it's the same concept as the morning basket. I would, on like days that were kind of quieter and we were at home all day, that used to be generally like Tuesdays and Thursdays for us, we might get 2, maybe even 3 of these things done, and then I would just move the arrow to the next thing, so that the kind of main benefit of doing it this way is that if I assign this to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but we're out on Thursday and Friday, or we're too tired, or something takes longer than usual to do and we don't get around to this, then this wouldn't get done, basically. And yeah, so in the way of doing it like this is that even if there's days where you don't get around to doing anything from here, you just pick up where you left off from. Again, this changed over time, and then we do follow The Brave Writer Lifestyle by obviously Julie Bogart. I kind of learned about her many years ago, like maybe 7 or 8 years ago when I first started homeschooling. And so excuse me, yeah, this, I kind of like designed my own 4-week program based on her, you know, the kind of lifestyle elements that she offers. So like, for example, this would be for a writing project. We would pick a writing project and research it in week 1. Week 2 we would finish off any research and start working on the draft, and then the 3rd week we would kind of start tidying it up and revising it, and then week 4 we would work on making it a final draft. We probably did the writing projects like not every single month for sure. Maybe we did like 3 or 4 a year. And then obviously, so like we would use the Arrow and Boomerang curriculum as well. So that's like language arts, literature, kind of grammar, spelling, punctuation. So I just wrote, you know, like on week 1 what I wanted to do, week 2, week 3, week 4. Because I think there is quite a lot in the Brave Writer lifestyle to incorporate, and I was feeling a bit overwhelmed about how to incorporate it all, I guess. So I kind of just, you know, worked it out like this, that works for us. And sometimes, you know, like Tuesdays generally look exactly the same. We finish off copy work and we have poetry tea time. That's every single week. Thursdays we alternate between movie night and library. Week 1 we might do like a word game, but week 2 we'll work on like French dictation. Then week 3 we'd work on reverse dictation, and week 4 we would, you know, kind of either do another French dictation or look at the writer's jungle and kind of mechanics of writing a bit more. So that was kind of, yeah, my own Brave Writer planning that I made. And then I went through, like, we've got all the, you know, jot it down, partnership writing, you know, all the kind of curriculum that she offers. And I just went through it and wrote down kind of the writing projects that I thought my kids would be interested in, or things that I thought, you know, we would really enjoy working on together, or areas that I thought they might, you know, need a bit more help. So I just made a list of those, and when I was planning, I would just pick one from here that I thought we could work on for the month. So for example, let me see. So here we did a project, the 5 W's, who, what, when, where, why. My daughter actually decided to do World War II and Hitler. So then we would follow this. So the first week she would research the topic, you know, well, picked the topic. We'd have lots of discussions about kind of finalizing, you know, yeah, the topic, and then start researching. The research would continue in the second week, and we'd start putting a draft together. So like that. So that's how we used the Brave Writer writing. And then my planning style generally at the time was just write, you know, the day and write a list of things that I wanted to get done with the kids. So I would write morning program, which is our spiritual stuff, morning basket. I was writing out at the time what, you know, specifically I wanted to do, but when I introduced the loop, then I kind of didn't excuse me, do that anymore. So it would just be morning program, morning basket, maths, read aloud, you know, all the daily stuff. I'd write it down, and then the homeschool loop stuff, any extracurricular stuff, like, you know, we would meet friends at the park, or we would take like an art lesson that wasn't scheduled, any documentaries we watched or wanted to watch. So I would write down everything that I planned for the day, and then also anything that we ended up doing that wasn't on the plan. And once we did it, I would like either tick it or highlight it, Some days we got, you know, quite a lot of stuff done. Other days, I don't know. Yeah, probably like here you can see, sorry, no, that's not, that's planning. Yeah, so like here we got Mondays, you know, very productive day, and then Wednesday didn't get everything on my list done, which was fine by me. And the other thing that we did, that we still do now, is like lazy unit studies. So we basically, I let the kids pick a topic, and we just base our learning around that topic. So we did stars and astrology. So we would read books about that, we'd watch documentaries about it, we might do a writing project about it, art, you know, whatever topics you want to incorporate. You could do history, you know, maths, pretty much any subject you can cover in a lazy unit study, and you can go as deep as you want or keep it as brief as you like. We did a secrets and codes one, and then this is basically how we kind of homeschool now. We just pick a topic, and for example, like my younger one was really into how to train your dragon, so I just started reading books about Vikings, and then we just did like a whole unit study on that. And then my other daughter was reading really into Greek myths, so we did like a mini unit study on ancient Greece. We learned about like politics, mathematicians, scientists, you know, all the fighting that went on, the warriors, the architecture, the geography, and then we actually ended our unit study by visiting Greece as well, because obviously for us it's not that far away. So that's kind of how we do homeschooling now as well. I would say it's become more, you know, predominantly based around unit studies on whatever my kids are interested in. We don't use any boxed curriculums or workbooks or things like that. And then here I was just planning out like January to March. I kind of plan according to kind of seasons, just planning out, you know, what I wanted to do, like in our kind of for our devotionals, what books I wanted to read, whether I wanted them to do copy work, what festivals we had coming up, if there was anything special that I wanted to add to the morning basket, I could add that, what maths curriculum, books, games that we had that I wanted to use. Yeah, basically the same for every subject. So I would pick something for history. So for example, that year we did the Elizabethan era. And then science, I would pick, you know, topics for my kids. So the little one was lights and sounds, the sky, plants and animal superpowers. So one topic a month. And then for the older one, it was, she really wanted, like, she was really into geology, so like the birth of rocks, and then energizing everything. Art, yeah, I would just make a plan of roughly what we kind of wanted to do. Books we wanted to read aloud, and then brave writer. So like I would pick, you know, my daughter was reading the Hunger Games series, so I got the boomerang for that, and we had like a mother-daughter book club where we were discussing the book and using the questions in the boomerang for discussion. Yeah, I would pick the writing project, you know, that we wanted to work on, things like that. So I was actually doing a lot more planning back then, and I was being very kind of organized, and yeah, I actually did spend a lot of time planning. And then again, I would just make a plan, and when we did everything, it would get highlighted. So here we, you know, I just showed you already, not such a productive day, but it didn't really bother me so much. And because I had the loop system, there was never any fear of like, oh, we didn't get Grammar Galaxy done, so that's it, it's not going to come around again. It just means it goes on the next day. And then I think I started writing after the fact. So I would do a little bit of planning, but it became more and more just jotting down afterwards what we had done. Because I think I kind of started realizing that I was trying to fit in just way too much in our day. And one of the main reasons we homeschool is that I want to give the kids, you know, an opportunity to explore their own interests, spend time developing their own, you know, whatever they want to do, whether that's play-based or learning-based, you know. I wanted them to have free time. So it kind of became very clear to me quite quickly that I was definitely over planning, and even though we might have excuse me, very productive days where everything got done, it just wasn't really suiting us. So I started just writing out things afterwards, and I was using this sticky note. It's a free printable from Peanuts Planner Co. as a weekly tracker. So I would just write down, you know, our spiritual stuff, morning basket, maths, read aloud, audiobook, writing, piano, exercise, games. And every day that we did it, I would just put a tick. That saved me having to write out maths every single day. And then I would just write down how that day went, basically. So like that day, my husband took my little one, Ishvari, to go get our car MOT'd. Me and Vishaka learnt about why February has 28 or 29 days and why we have a leap year. Also watched a YouTube video about that. Downloaded the new Pendlewick's book for her, so she sat in the garden and read for ages. So that's how our homeschool kind of developed. Here again, I was, you know, writing a few movies and books that I not that I wanted to get through all of them, but just to get an idea of on movie night, okay, we're learning about World War II, let's pull a movie from here. This is when I was in pocket rings and I was planning, and I just wanted to keep it all together, so I stuck them in here. That tracker again, and this is definitely when I started planning from behind, I guess is what Julie Bogart from Brave Writer calls it. Because I had already my daily and where is it now? I had my writing project stuff sorted, and I had my daily, I had the homeschool loop and the morning basket loop. I didn't feel like I needed to write it all out all over again. I just thought, okay, well, this is the stuff we're going to do every day, and whatever day we do it, it gets a tick or a cross. And then if we do whatever we do from morning basket, I'll just write it down. Whatever we do from our homeschool loop, I'll just write it down. Like, it just didn't make sense to me to kind of plan that, oh yeah, okay, tomorrow we're going to do Pixar in a box and write it down, and then it didn't get done, and then I'd write it again and it might not get done for days on end. So yeah, I just started, you know, kind of writing, and I would start, you know, including lots more things that were not just strictly educational, you know, like she, you know, my daughter wrote a book review. She was trying to play the Greatest Showman songs on the piano. We had a discussion about refugees and Malala. Just any learning that happened during the day. I think it kind of definitely, our home and our school kind of started overlapping so much that I didn't want to separate that, okay, you know, maths, read aloud, science, that counts as school, and so that warrants a space in my planner, whereas all the other stuff, you know, I wasn't really keeping a record of it, and I really wanted to, so that's what I started doing. So like on days, you know, where it looks like we haven't got much done, I can't look back on this day and think why that's happened, because Thursdays are always our PJ days at home. We don't really go anywhere. We don't have any, you know, clubs or activities on. So I could look at this day and be like, oh, how come we only did maths, read aloud, piano, a little bit of, you know, history. But when I started planning like this, I could look back and say, oh yeah, it's because she spent the majority of the day researching, you know, refugees, because she's working on a book, her own like fiction book. And my sister came over and played with them. They were both, you know, playing together in the garden, drawing with chalk. They were listening to an Audible book while folding laundry, you know, just things that took up our day and counts as learning, that I wasn't recording. So I kind of really liked this style of homeschool planning. It's not strictly planning, but like from behind, I guess. And I realized that instead of a week on 2 pages, I actually needed a lot more space, because, you know, kids, like, this is how my kids filled their day, and it was a full day. So yeah, this is how I kind of started doing it, just writing down exactly, you know, any discussions we had, or, you know, whatever. You get the message. And then I think I kind of didn't really do that for every single week, because I've just become a bit more confident in homeschooling, and, you know, knowing that my kids are learning. I don't have to write down every single thing that they do. They just learn all the time, every day, and this is only Monday to Friday. Like, I'm not even writing down stuff that happens at the weekends. So I kind of stopped doing it, and I started doing it and stopped and started. Yeah, I think it just got to a point where I was just like, you know what, this is our life, and we have our daily, like, kind of rhythms. We do similar stuff every single day. We do our spiritual stuff, we read aloud, they do a little bit of maths most days, they do their piano practice for a few minutes, we play games, we read loads and loads and loads, lots of non-fiction and fiction, and, you know, they are constantly writing. And I just felt like I was confident enough in my homeschool that I didn't necessarily need to keep a record of it. And for me, it also became quite tedious at the end of the day to sit down and write all this. And so, yeah, for a long time, I just wasn't really recording anything at all. But I have started to in my Stellargy. And it's still very, very basic, but I think it's just more like, I think me and my daughter were having a discussion about something, and she was saying, oh yeah, we never did that. And I said, yeah, we did, we studied that, you know, like, and I couldn't remember when we had done it, if it was this year or the year before, and I couldn't remember if the little one had taken part in that or not. So I just thought, okay, you know what, I kind of wouldn't mind going back to kind of just keeping a basic record of our homeschool day for now. I'm sure that will change. Generally, you know, when I'm feeling like, okay, I'm not really doing enough, I'm not sure if the kids are like learning, or if I should be homeschooling them, or, you know, whatever, like, kind of every homeschool parent has, you know, these doubts. I think generally when I feel like that, then I tend to write in more detail about what we are doing, so that at the end of the day, it's kind of like self-reassurance that, you know what, they are learning, you're doing great, don't worry about it. And then when I'm feeling more confident, it's not a problem. So yeah, this was in September. I just wanted to get a kind of weekly overview of what our weeks would look like when they had, like, you know, piano, sports, and then monthly or fortnightly clubs, just kind of an overview of the week. And then I did put this insert in here of things that I kind of planned on working with them, but to be honest, I haven't even looked at this more than like past the first month, because yeah, I don't know. Then if I can find one now. Yeah, so this is how I started doing it. I kept a tracker again of things that we do every single day. So that's week 1, that's week 2, and then I will just go across here for week 3 and week 4. Things we do weekly, things we do monthly, and these are not things that have to get done every single month, but I would like to hit as many of them as possible. These are things, again, you know, this is all just like things that I would like to aim for, but it's not something that, like, if we don't do it, you know, I'm not going to cry about it. But I might look back and say, okay, you know what, for the last couple of weeks now we haven't worked on typing, or we haven't done any baking together, so the following week I'll make a bit more of a concerted effort to, you know, conscious effort to kind of put that at the top of our priority. And then I have their things that they do individually. So like the older one does Spanish, and she's like, we're trying to work on reading Shakespeare together, and the little one does all about spelling and this new curriculum that I found called Ninja Vocabulary. And then on this side of the page, again, it's just kind of record keeping like I was in here, just anything that, not everything at all, but just things that kind of reflect our week and anything that stands out. So, you know, like there was lots of reading aloud by the fire that week. We had a massive clear out in their rooms. We played lots of games in the garden with their dad. My daughter's How to Train Your Dragon toys came, and she, you know, just spent like the whole month, I think, playing with them. We watched The Imitation Game. So yeah, and then like my husband took them to Ireland. And then sometimes if there's something I feel like, okay, actually, yeah, there is something I would like to work on, I'll just stick it on a sticky note and try to get it done. Generally, it's like if there's a documentary I see that I think we might like, so this is where I would put it, and if it gets done, I'll put it here or tick it, whatever. So this is how my homeschool planning will probably continue in here for as long as I feel like it needs to, I guess, because like I said, I don't always feel the need to do it, to keep a record of our days. So this is October, so I will be doing, it will be a page, 2 pages per month. Like I said, it will be 2 weeks on there and 2 weeks on there. Weekly and monthly will stay. My 2 daughters' individual things will stay, and then the rest of this page will just be, you know, bullet journal style notes of things that we worked on or got done that kind of isn't covered here. So yeah, I haven't actually set up November yet, but I am going to, because we have just got back from India, and so yeah, we kind of took a couple of days off, but we're back to the swing of homeschool on Monday. And yeah, so I will be doing that, setting that up today, and choosing like a writing project to work on for the rest of the month, probably for 4 weeks, because that will take us up to Christmas break. And yeah, that's kind of it really. So I hope that has kind of helped you guys understand how we plan or don't plan in our homeschool. We definitely just, you know, are very interest led. Like whatever my kids are into, I'll try and, not to kind of suck the joy out of what they are interested in, but just to kind of, you know, center learning around that. And I found that they're just much more interested, they're more invested, they retain more stuff. It's just more enjoyable for all of us really. So we have, you know, our homeschool is lots of reading aloud, lots of documentaries, lots of travel, and then we try and fit in things like maths and science and, you know, whatever around those topics if possible. Sometimes it's not, and that's okay. Like, you know, it's not, if we're doing like a history unit study, geography might be just a very tiny part of that, and that's fine, because then we might be studying like oceans, and then it's all kind of geography and science based and not so much history. So yeah, I kind of just ask my kids what they want to learn or what they're interested in, or sometimes it's about what I want. You know, I'm sometimes really interested in something, and so my excitement kind of trickles down to them, and we spend as long or as little as we want going down rabbit holes. So I hope that's helped you guys get an overview of our homeschool. I will definitely share, like, you know, my November pages once I've set them up, because that will be a full 2-page spread. But if you have any questions in the meanwhile, please let me know, and I'm sorry if I haven't answered any of your questions. Definitely drop them in the box below, and I will be sure to get back to you guys. I do actually have a separate homeschool Instagram account where we share, you know, more like specific details about what books we're reading, or trips that we're taking, things like that. So I'll leave the link for that below as well. If you want to follow me on there, you can. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much, guys, and I will speak to you guys soon. Bye.